So this is the solution video for the last assignment. I thought it might be nice if I do this in a slightly different way using Google Colab, which allows you to look at notebooks and build up a notebook for anything you like to do. And the advantage here is that in the notebook you can record observations, you can write comments about something you do wrong. You can leave all the code that is wrong in the notebook for later. The only price to be paid here in all of these so-called Jupyter notebooks is that you need to straddle the divide between interpreted and compiled languages, because this tool is actually for interpreted languages like Python or R or Julia, and not for C and C++. But you can use it in that way anyway. And I'm going to show this along the way how to do that. Hopefully the video will not be so long. So what you see here is the welcome screen when you go to Colab, Research, Google.com. And I'm going to go to our assignment and just copy this in here. The whole thing really, to show you how that works. So first of all, I'm going to create a new notebook. And this notebook will be automatically created in my Google Drive, so I don't have to save it at all. I'll just call it here assignment solution video. And I'm going to create a text cell, push it to the bottom, to the top, and simply just copy the entire text that I have in here. Now, this text at the moment is unformatted, so I really want to give it a little title, second level headline. Don't need the release notes here, so you can little bit better what's happening here. I'm going to call it assignment instructions. And all that's missing here that didn't get copied in is a bunch of bullet points. Let's see if that works. Okay, I think that's good. Check the program with 3 input sets. And you can see how I'm using font language here as well. Then don't forget program header and suitable comments. Submit the URL if you understood the practice program from class, and so on. Okay, so this is a solution video. Now, the only thing here is the link that wasn't copied, so I'm going to look at the program that we did in class. And you can find it in the lecture material. I'm just going to go there as well. Hope I'll find it. I think this is the one. And here's the solution from class. So this is the program. And all I want to do here is actually get the, at the moment, get the copy of the link. So I'm going to copy this link. I'm going to go back to my file and put this in here as a link. It's pretty obvious. I took the link and I clicked at the top. So you see everything is fine now, and if I run this, then you see the instruction here. You don't have to put it in there all the time, but of course this is the main point of the assignment, that you see what the instructions are, then you can work them. So let me actually add another text at the top. Sorry, this is not the only way to do this. You can also go down here and enter text here, and then push it to the top, and just give it a main header. And I think, okay, so I don't want that. So this is the main header, which is, what's this thing called? In class practice. Nope, that's not it. Store and produce prices, product prices. I'm going to go back and write this in here. And And now you can see what's happening. There's a first level headline, a second level headline. You can close everything if you like, hide the cells, and you can see the table of contents here on the left-hand side. You can see your files in here. There are currently not any files that we created. They're only sample files, which we didn't create, but you will see them in a moment. Yeah? So that's the setup for the whole thing. So I've made a few changes here, just cosmetic changes, putting some fonts around so to make it more readable. Otherwise, we are ready to move on. So the next part, I'm going to post the starter code here. Starter code, that's the program that we used in class. And this is a code block. And we're going to go over to the solution in the class. Copy this, go back to the program, put it in here. So as I said, this environment is not made for C and C++. You can see maybe these red bars here mean that it doesn't like it, because this is actually expecting Python and not C. So if you run this, you get a massive heart attack. Just running this here, and you see a syntax error and so on. This is a Python debugger message. So what we need to do is to use so-called magic commands, meta commands, that cause this platform to write the file. So we need to write file. I'm adding one line here. Write file, call it prices.cpp. And you can see things change. Suddenly it looks quite innocent, and we get proper syntax highlighting. And I needed to put my name in here. And this program will actually run, but what it will do is it will write a file called prices.cpp. This program we can now see in the list down here. So two ways to run this. I'm going to show you both ways. One is to actually open the terminal. Down here you can see there's a terminal. You can click on that. You can change the page layout to 2 rows, and then you have the terminal on top and the notebook at the terminal at the bottom, the notebook at the top. And you can now run this file. First of all, the minimal Linux commands that you learned in class. We can look for the file and look at all the files. There it is. We can look at the long listing to see the time and this and other qualifiers. And now we can compile it. Now, compilation, you can do that either with G++, directly compile it. I'm going to do that first. So prices.cpp. And if we're going to do another ls, we now see an output file, out. That's the one we can run. So we can run this, and it'll do what we want it to do. There's one slight change actually in the program. You can see there's no new line at the end, so I want to do a new line here. So at the very end, I'm just going to add put a string, put an empty string at the end, and that will be as good as a new line. I can also put an actual new line in here, but that's double because put string includes a new line. So I'm going to run this again to produce another file, overwriting it, go back. And remember, I have the history of all my commands in here, so I can just run the last command again, number 3, and then I can run number 5. And now I get the answer with a new line at the end. This is a little tedious, going back and forth between the files, so fortunately I can do the whole thing in the notebook as well. First I'm going to remove the output file, so I can start afresh. And now it's gone. All I have is my C++ file. I'm going to close the terminal. I'm going to show you how to do this in the notebook itself. So I'm opening and this is actually something that one should already comment. So if you see this and do this, you might, for the first time, you might want to put a little text in here. So to compile and run C++ code, prefix the program, the source code, with the command write file, followed by the file name. So we've done that. And in the next one, we're going to now run this. To compile and run the file in the notebook. I don't want to insert any emojis. Use the exclamation mark command or prefix. Let me show you how that works. This was just the text, so we're going to make a little example. So first thing we want to do is compile. This time we're not going to use the G++, I just did that. We're going to do something else we learned in class briefly. We're going to use the make command. So you can also say make prices. And you can see the system already knows there is a file called prices.cpp. So if you run that, you see what it executes. It executes the compiler and creates an output file, prices. So this is the compilation, and now we're going to do another code block for the running. It's good to separate the lines, especially these lines. We couldn't really do this here, so you cannot really like write 3 lines and then run them. You could do it, but it would be a little tedious to jump back and forth. You could just as well do it in the terminal. So this is easy for the testing. So we're going to test it by running. First of all, let's have a look what files are there. And you see the file prices is there. If you do -L, you can also see that prices is actually executable. And so we can now run make. We can now run the file itself, prices. It's also, the system knows it's there. And that is. Yeah, so here we have everything that we did in class. The file, the program, the output file, and the result. Now we're ready to move on to the next part. So let's move on to the next part, which is the solution. Now you can either create another text block here if you like. You could also do this a little easier by opening the Explorer here. Sorry, not the Explorer, the table of contents, and making sure that you at the end add a section here. And then you can see the section is going to be added here, and you can just edit it. We don't want a big headline, we want a 2-level headline. We can close this again, and here we're going to say solution. I'm not going to solution, let's say, and solution path, because this is a notebook. So I don't just want to give you the file, I want to give you some ideas about how this is actually done. Okay, so I'm going to leave this as a headline and then create a new, sorry, make a mistake here, path, create a new text to begin to plan my attack on the solution. I'm going to close all these other I can close all these other things if I like. First thing I need to do is actually get myself that file up here, because I want to work in this starter code right away. And this is quite nice because you don't have to copy and paste much. All you have to do is be in the cell, so highlight the cell as you can see, and then copy. And this actually copies the cells, and you can now paste it in this notebook simply by Control V. Will post them here. Yeah, so this is the starter file. Now this is a solution file, so we want to call it prices.cpp. And I'm not going to do a lot of stuff here. I'm going to make sure that this is here. Now this is the old file. I'm going to write my comments on how I did it above this file and then just post the solution here once. If this was a longer notebook and I wanted to spend more time, I would write a little example and then make some comments and so on. So you would have multiple code blocks like this in the notebook. In this case, to save time, I'm just going to go write the notes and then fix the code myself. So let's see what we can do about this. First of all, what do we need to do? First thing is we want to make sure that the user enters 5 product prices instead of hard coding them in the program. And remember, when you have, and then we want to validate that the input is fine. These are two different requests. And the third one is check the program with 3 input sets, not just 1 but 3, which then should be given over the keyboard. So we're going to just tackle one problem at a time. Just do this. So just make sure that the user can enter 5 product prices instead of hard coding them in the product, in the program. That's our first goal here. And I'm going to actually deviate from what I said earlier, and I'm going to show this in three different versions. So the first one is, and this is like a 3-head level, get user input. What was the? It's actually better to just copy this. Let a user enter 5 product prices. Okay. So how do we do that? Our helper here is that we need the sin operator. So the only change here, to the other program prices.cpp, our first version, is that we need to ask the user for input with cout and get the 5 values from the keyboard or from the user with sin. I don't know if that's the way you pronounce it, but that's the way I pronounce it. Okay. So we're going to go to the program, make our next version, and we're working. We now do not need the initialization anymore, so we can just delete that. And every time you do this, you can actually verify that the program still runs. So I want to do that just to make sure that I don't introduce any mistakes. So I'm going to add a code block here. And in the code block, I'm just going to make the program. First of all, I write it, so it's written, and then I make the program using my system ! Command. And they say make prices 2. And that works. And just to make sure it compiles. Yeah, I could also run it, but I just want to make sure it compiles. Then I go back to my file, and now I'm adding another comment, which is ask user for input. And this is simply a cout command, and you can see the commands already available here. I don't think it's going to mess with you. But if you are concerned, I hope you can see this, you can change the editor, the AI assistance, to remove show AI powered inline completions. I would do that because otherwise it's continuously messes with your input. And I think that's all here. I know in the editor tab, you should also uncheck show context powered code completions. That may appear helpful, but it actually it messes with my flow, so I don't want that. What is good is to automatically close brackets and quotes in code cells, and enter key accepts suggestions. So you can keep that if you like. Okay, so now it does. As you can see, now it doesn't do that anymore. I write cout, and it just accepts it instead of mirroring it back to me and disturbing me. And so now I want to write enter. Size, because I have this flexibility here. I have to define the size as 5, but I can actually change that to any number of array. I could enter 1,000 product prices if I wanted to. Right now I just want to enter 5. So I could have kept this line out altogether, but since it's already in the program, I'm happy to take the generalization and then enter size, product prices. Okay, and a new line. And yet again, I'm going to run this, overwriting it and make it. And this time I want to see actually what happens, so I want to run it as well. And there you see, enter 5 product prices is fine, but I hadn't entered anything, so the result is 0. So I can make this a little bigger for you to see. Now I need to get the input. So I'm using the input stream object and the input stream operator. And now very simply just I could use a for loop if I wanted to, but I'm just using the prices as indexed elements, one after the other. And this, of course, is not general. It would be much better to, since I have the size, to do it in a different way, use a for loop. But for demonstration purposes, I'd like to have both of these possibilities in the program. And you see how unflexible this is, because if I now wanted to change size to 6, I would have to extend this manually. So a for loop, on the other hand, could remain untouched. Prices 4, and that's it. So let's see if that works. Let's already test this program. Let's run it again. Because remember, we're only going to do changing for the input and running that. So in this case, first of all, I'm going to run this again. Yeah, and now I'm waiting for product prices, as you can see. I'm going to enter all of them at the same time. And I'm going to start with the first set here that I was given. So you can see this is really easy to do. Oh, actually, that copies a cell. That's not easy to do. So I'm a little buggered here, but I'm going to do it by hand. That's the disadvantage, is that you actually have to copy. You cannot copy cells. I think there might be a way to do it, but I don't know how to do it. You can also see that this is now waiting. The program is waiting for your input. Yeah. So I'm going to use the first section, first price that was given to me. I'm just going to enter this here. And if you click on it, you get the input field. I'm going to use the same numbers. You could use any numbers you like, but when I give you an assignment, I would like to see the same numbers so I can have an easy time of comparing it. And then you just enter. And there you see the result. Now, this is printed twice, and the reason why it's printed twice is because this is actually the printout, and the first line is actually just a mirroring of the input. So this is the line you entered, and that's the line that was output. Okay, that looks good. We've done that, actually. I'm going to test this now for all three, but I wanted to add the second part first in order to make the program complete. So the second thing is validate the user input. So I'm going to go here and create myself another section. And I think this is a 3 level as well. So I'm going to double click here. I have 3 levels. And this is called validate the user input. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing I did before, which is copying my current version, copying it down here. Change the program name because this is my new version. Price is 3. I can run it. And now I'm going to add my strategy, what I'm going to do here. This is a little more complicated. Requires some thinking, maybe looking stuff up even. So what it says here is I want you to validate that each input is a positive number, which means greater than 0. If the test fails, so there's an if or conditional in here, print a warning message and abort gracefully. I'm telling you how to do that, namely by using the function, the standard function exit, and as an argument exit failure, which is a constant, from the cstdlib library. So I'm gonna, because this is really quite long, I would like to have this actually in the text down there, and I can't really do that, and I don't want to have to write it here, so I'm just gonna copy this from another place, if you don't mind. Why would you? To repeat the job, the task is to, let's see if that works. Yeah, that works. To validate that each input is a positive number greater than 0. If the test fails, print a warning message and abort gracefully using, and here I have different font signs from cstdlib. Okay. And I'm going to give myself some notes here. So I must include cstdlib, because that's not included. Next thing I need to do is I must loop over the prices elements after they've been entered, third thing I need to do is I must check if any of them is equal or smaller than 0, and if one of them is equal, or let's say fulfills this condition, I must print a warning message with cout and abort using the exit function. Okay, that's what I must do. That's what I will do. So let's do this in the file. Let's keep this here and just add it one after the other. So first of all, include cstdlib. Same procedure as always. I'm going to write a line and then I'm going to try and run that. So this one I can also copy. So I'm going to copy this bit here and see it here, and then maybe put a little test in between, like test the code. And my program is now called main3, and let's see if that works. Okay, so and the changes is minimal. I've just said I'm going to include another library, but I still want to make sure that this program works. So first of all, let's write it. Okay, and then let's make it and run it. Okay, so it seems to accept the same thing. I'm just going to put, sorry, I interrupted that. I'm going to just put 5 values in here to satisfy it. Okay, so now the next step is I must loop over the prices elements after they have been entered. Now, there's a really decision to be made here, because to loop, I can either use a range-based loop, which is not index sensitive, or an indexed loop, which is index sensitive. Now in this case, because I want to check every single element, I need a index loop. I cannot do with a range-based loop. So let's put this in here, right straight from the comments up here. Yeah? So these comments, they are a little bit like I can use these as pseudocode. I could copy them into the program as well. So loop over array to validate that elements are positive. So we're going to create a for loop with a loop variable starting at 0. The loop variable goes up to size -1, and it increments in steps of 1. And first of all, I'm gonna do both things together. Very likely you should test them individually, but we're gonna have more than one command here, so it's useful to open a scope using the curly brackets, and now give the warning message. So this, sorry, we're looping over them, and then I need a condition. So if the prices element I of the index I is smaller or equal than 0, do something else, which is first of all print a warning message like error, product prices must be positive, and then I'm informing the user that I'm aborting, then I'm aborting using exit. Now I don't have to use. It doesn't hurt to write this std exit, but I don't have to do it because I have used the using namespace std here. Okay, so that's it. So I'm going to run this, and then I can test it with my different numbers. And the different numbers I should actually copy if I can. I can copy from this block here, so I can do that and actually just copy these numbers and do this and take that out. So that should work. I tried Control C, I hope it works. I haven't tried that before. And then I'm gonna add this to my thing here. Yeah, that works. Okay, so I'm good. Okay. So let's do this. Let's run first of all, write the program, make sure it compiles, and run it at the same time. Now, I'm going to show you another way to do this, but if you want to do it interactively, you can do this. I'm going to do this first. Oh, there's a problem here. I forgot a semicolon. You can see this here clearly. It's indicated. Very good. And so I'm going to stop this process here, create the file again, and run it. So it works fine. And now I can enter my my 5 products. So 10. I'm sorry, I have to click here once to get the input field. 10, 100, 45.99, 30, 200. That was the original one, so that works. And I could run it again and again with all the other ones. So I'm just going to do the next one to show you how that works. So I'm going to do the next one, which is 10, 100, 45.99, 30, and then the last number should be 0. So this would abort because the last entry satisfies this condition that it's smaller or equal than 0. So if I run that, it says it goes fine. It doesn't print anything, it just mirrors back the input I just entered and aborts. Yeah. So I could do this for the third one as well, it would work, but I'm going to show you another way to do this, namely in one Swift, in one block, if you like. So another way to test multiple inputs on the command line. Just going to do this here. So you already have the file. Yeah? So the file is here. If you do ls -l with a exclamation mark, then you should see all the files. So here you see prices, that's the executable that we are running. And we're going to make it again, make prices 3. And then we're going to echo every single one of these examples. So you can type that yourself. I'm just going to copy it from my script. So I've got 3 lines here. I'm going to make the price, and then I'm going to explain this in a moment. I'm just going to get the text right. Okay. So what happens here is that prices 3 is made, which means that prices executable is produced, and then I'm running it in a pipeline. So I echo, which means I enter these numbers. The numbers, the output of the echo command is the input for whatever comes after the pipeline sign, which is this little vertical bar. So the output of this mirroring command is the input for prices, and so on and so on. Now I should have named it prices 3, because that's the last one. And I hope I didn't make that mistake. No, it's fine. Because otherwise I'm trying to run the first program. Okay, so that's it. And let's see if that works. Yeah, it does. So the first one runs fine, and the second and third abort. And that's the end of it. So what have we gained here? As you can see, I have a complete notebook now. I could have added a lot more stuff, so I've made mistakes. I mean, I knew what the answer was, and I worked this out before, but if I make mistakes here, I can actually copy this code and give myself comments about what's happening. And you can also hand in the URL to this particular file. So if you click on share, you should be able to change this to anyone with the link. I'm going to do this myself now, so I can copy this notebook to you, and that's what I'm going to put in the into Canvas. Okay, thank you.